Hi there. I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about the difference between answers and tools. I was at a conference recently and someone mentioned the idea that we really oftentimes really want answers, but what we need is tools to explore for ourselves to find the answers. And the past couple days have been a lot of conversations around death and dying, which for me is not unusual because I am a death scholar. And in the paranormal, for me, it crosses over a lot as well. On Friday night, I had a tour. I talk about death on my tour, not just because we're talking about ghosts, but because I talk about Victorian death culture. And I went to dinner with some folks afterwards, one of them being a death doula, another one who's very interested in death due to their own experiences. And we had some really great conversations about it at dinner as well. But last night, I was at a party and in a group of folks talking about paranormal stuff, talking about death stuff. And one of the people there shared with the group that they had lost their father and brother both within 4 days of one another, both to COVID. And that's an unimaginable loss. It's already hard enough to lose one person that you're very close to, much less two people you're very close to in such a short amount of time. And these COVID deaths came a little later, not in the main push of COVID that a lot of us saw down here because they were in a more isolated part of the United States. And as this person spoke more and more, it was very apparent that they were still deep in their grief and struggling for answers about what happens after we die. And y'all, I'm here to tell you, the more I study death, the more I encounter folks, the more I study the paranormal, I don't have those answers. I'm not going to claim to have those answers. My language around what happens after we go may be very different than your language and your belief system, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be the same. And I always promised myself that I would honor other people's belief systems in that because of some really challenging things people said to me when my dad passed and when I've lost other people. So I really try and honor people's experiences, but it was very clear that this person really wanted answers. They wanted concrete answers. And I didn't have concrete answers for them. But what I had for them was tools. I had different kinds of things they could look into. They were asking me about, do you think someone was there to greet them when they crossed? And so I talked to this person about end-of-life experiences, which has been documented for hundreds of years, even longer than that, about carers or other family members, hospice doctors, hospice nurses, talking about, people dying, but talking about other people being there to welcome them. My grandmother had an ELE. And so we talked about that. And then on the grief end, I recommended Megan Devine's book, It's Okay That You're Not Okay, which I will recommend every day and twice on Sundays because I think it's a fantastic book on grief. There's another book called Grieving Mindfully, and that is also fantastic. So I offer those things. I talked about some other tools on the other side, and I think what was really challenging for this person is that they come from a faith background that no longer aligns with what they're starting to believe now or what is helping them in their grief. And they just kept coming back to wanting answers. And I don't have answers. So I tried to provide tools. I tried to give them permission to find what they needed in their grief and for that to be enough. And I don't know if it helped that person. I told them I was very honored that they shared their story with me because I don't take that kind of thing lightly. But I don't have the answers. I don't think any of us really do. Because even when we've come from a faith background or a certain belief system or a certain worldview that says this is what happens after we go, when we actually lose people, that can shift. And I think that's what was happening for this person. So just something I've been thinking about. And if there's tools you're looking for, experiences you want to talk about, I'm here. But it's hard. It's hard when we want answers and someone hands us tools. And I don't feel bad that I couldn't give that woman answers. But I do not want to ever say I know when I don't know.